Good evening, everyone. लोग आ रहे हैं आहिस्ता आहिस्ता. So we will take this time to introduce ourselves. आप में से अगर कोई ये opportunity लेना चाहते हैं to discuss about themselves, to give their introduction.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. My name is Haris Wahid and I am a
Okay.
software engineer. I am graduated from Laird University in 2022 and right now I'm working as a freelancer.
Okay. So Haris, where did you find about WSL?
Basically, I enrolled myself to the WSL for the
Mhm.
Italy process and one of your receptionists or consultants advised me to that we have the free IELTS online classes. So yeah, I enrolled them before after taking the advice, the suggestions or instructions from them.
Okay, okay, that's great. So how's your journey going so far with WSL?
It's good. Yeah, they can apply my case to the universities, and yeah, it's going well for now.
Great. Okay, so that was a good try, Haris. Uh, Now, anyone else who wants to give their introduction? They're very important. Uh, जरूरी नहीं कि आपकी preparation कम हो या आपको your skills are not up to the mark. Mostly, whenever it's the test day, it's all about your nerves as well. How you control yourself, your attention matters a lot. Yes, huh? So IELTS is, less about your English skills, more about your communication skills. It is basically a communication skills test in which they test that if you are going abroad for your studies, especially for academic IELTS. So how can you communicate with your professor or your peers in the university? That's why your attention and your overall understanding of English matters in this. Asha, before starting the meeting, I want you to know that this session is not going to be the typical one in which the speaker is speaking and all of you are just listening and consuming the material. I want this session to be more into a one-on-one or an interactive session in which I talk to you, and wherever you want, you can also talk to me. You can send a message in the chat, ask me to, unmute yourself. So in this way, we'll have a better learning. Chaleni, this is the first class of your IELTS preparation crash course. We at WSL have designed this special course for students who are enrolled with us and who want to enroll with us but have problems because they cannot do IELTS. Many of the students that I've met, they have good English level and they can communicate good as well. But the problem with them is that they haven't even tried it. So this course will help you to figure out how can you do IELTS. First, let me start with myself. I'm Abdul Basit. I've done MPhil from Punjab University, Lahore. Gold medalist there, and I've been teaching IELTS for about 2 years now. In my recent IELTS attempt, I've scored 8 bands in IELTS, from which 8.5 in listening and 80.5 in reading as well, and 7 each in the writing and speaking sections. So that is my introduction. This class of you, let me tell you, it will going to be a 2 days class in a week, and the Saturdays will be given for the mock tests. Okay, so starting towards the IELTS is one of the many English language assessment tests that a student can do for their study abroad application. The thing is, why IELTS? Let me tell you why. Because IELTS is the most recognized test in all the English language assessments. Students can opt for PTE, that is also very famous in students. TOEFL is another choice for the students. So is Duolingo test and many others. But I think IELTS is widely accepted. That is why we have started giving IELTS. uh, pretty much everything. It's there are two types of IELTS test. One is the academic test and one is the general training test. The academic test, the students will give it. If you want to study at a university, whether you are going for a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, IELTS academic is the kind of test that you will opt for. And the general training is for immigration purpose. If you are going for a work permit or if you want to apply immigration abroad, then IELTS general training is for you. Uh, our session and our course is all about IELTS academic. So going forward from here, everything that I'll mention that will be specifically about IELTS academic test. Okay. So before starting the IELTS, let me show you some myths. People think that the only native speakers can score band 9. Okay, so as you have seen, I'm not a native speaker, but I've scored a band 8 that is closer to a band 9. Uh, and it is absolutely wrong. Anyone can score, and anyone can prepare for IELTS and score band 9. Mostly this happens that even when native speakers appear in the IELTS test, they don't even uh, secure band 7 or band 8, let alone band 9. Do you know why is that? It's because I already told you before that it's not about how good your education in or how good your English is. It's about how well you can use it to communicate with others. So the second myth people say that you need complex vocabulary to score high. This might be true at some extent, but let me tell you from my experience that a simple language is valued at IELTS. If you try to become fancy in your wording, you are out to make more mistakes. That will give you penalty and your IELTS score will go down rather than go up. IELTS टेस्ट आपका होगा 2 hours and 45 minutes का and it includes 4 modules: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Each of the modules carry equal bands. All of them are scored from 9, and your overall score is the aggregate of each band in the each module. So there are two options available: computer-based and paper-based. Paper-based IELTS is more uh, common and more preferred by students because a lot of them think that they cannot type fast, so computer-based test is not for them. Let me tell you that is also a myth. There is plenty of time available for you in your IELTS writing, especially on computer delivered test. Because if I tell you from my experience, when I was giving my IELTS writing, uh, I completed my writing module 10 to 12 minutes in advance. That means if I'm given 60 minutes for the IELTS writing, I completed my task 1 and task 2 in less than 50 minutes. And as you have seen, I've scored 7 bands in writing. Let me tell you that is a very difficult in the writing section, to cross 7 or above because it is more challenging than the speaking and the reading parts. Okay. So students should go for computer based test because there are many advantages of computer test. One is it is low costing as compared to your paper-based IELTS. I think it's a difference of 5 to 6,000. You can check on the British Council or IDP website. And another advantage is your result is available the very next day. That means that if I have appeared on 16th of December for IELTS and I have given a computer delivered IELTS, my result will be available the next day in 24 hours. That is a very good thing. But if you go for a paper based option that has a tentative deadline of 13 days, recently they have shifted to a very fast result delivery. But I don't think that paper based will be as fast as computer based IELTS. There are 4 modules: listening, is 40 minutes because 30 minutes is for the actual test. And if you are going for a paper based exam, you will get extra 10 minutes in which you will transfer your data and the answers. Reading is for 60 minutes, which would be better according to you, sir. I think a computer delivered test is better for the students because it totally depends upon the situation. Like if you are a professional who work a lot on a computer or a laptop and you feel comfortable reading from a screen, then you should definitely go for the computer delivered test. But if you are the person who have very low exposure to technology and computer and reading from the screens and taking notes on the screen and highlighting the things, I think then you should probably go for the paper-based test. It totally depends upon you. At the end of this session, we will also discuss about it. Your reading is of 60 minutes. It also have 40 questions. Writing has two tasks, task वन and task टू. Task वन में आपको मिल जाता है some bar graphs, some charts, some pictures, some maps, and you have to report the salient features of it. And in the task two, they will give you an essay or a prompt in which you will have to discuss in length about it. Speaking is the most challenging of all because most of our students they can listen good, they can write good, they can even read pretty much fine, but when it comes to the speaking, fluency is the thing that they lack because in our culture, in our Pakistan, in our society, not many chances for the students to engage in English language discussions. So fluency is the thing that comes with practice and your habit. So speaking is the task which students actually lack and they need to work a lot. Writing and speaking, actually both of them. So if I'll go about the scoring criteria, like how it is scored, listening is scored according to the key because if I'll show you here, out of 40 questions, if you manage to score like something between 23 to 25, then your IELTS band will be 6. If you will score 26 to 29, then it will be 6.5. 30 to 31, it's 7 bands, okay, and so on. If your score is between 39 to 40, that is a perfect 9. Usually it happens that your test gets very good, but there are occasional errors. Even people with higher understanding of English often miss them. I myself scored 8.5 in listening. That means I may have selected 2 or 3 questions incorrect, but that does not mean that you cannot score 9 bands. 9 bands is also in the reach, but it all depends upon your concentration and how well you understand the English. Most students that I've tutored and I've seen, they fall between 5 to 7 bands in listening. Okay? Listening is the thing that they have been doing for a lot because uh, these days students watch Hollywood movies, Hollywood seasons. They are in English, so their English hearing capabilities are quite fine. So they tend to score higher in that section. I think it's the same case with the reading as well because it's also marked according to the key. You cannot write anything from your own. The correct answer is already given in their own key and you'll have to match it as it is. ठीक है जी एकेडमिक की अगर हम बात करें if you score above 23 then you are between 6 and a 7. अगर आप 30 से above चले जाते हैं then you are scoring between 7 and 8. And if you are scoring above 35, it's like 38 to 40. Same with the listening thing, then you will score a perfect 9 in it. The more challenging part comes in the writing and speaking section because writing, as I already told, it has two tasks, task 1 and task 2. But let me tell you one thing, it's not a test where they read all of your passage and then make their mind that how well you have written, and we will give you a score out of 9. No, we will go through line by line, paragraph by paragraph of your writing. They will analyze you on 4 different things. Many students have no idea about it. Let me tell you. The first thing is task achievement or task response. That means that the question you asked, how well you have answered it. That means if they have asked you that where is the phone charger, and you will say that it's laying on the floor or over the table, that means you have given the exact location of the charger. That means your task achievement is complete. But if you will say that I don't know, it will be there somewhere, there somewhere in the room. Now that is not an exact location. For that, your task achievement has not met. Second thing is coherence and cohesion. Coherence and cohesion means how well you connect your last sentence to the coming sentence. Both of the sentences must be connected in a way that they do not feel disorganized. Third thing they see is the lexical resource. Lexical resource, you can say the vocabulary, how fancy words you can use, how appropriate terms you can use. Now, this is the thing where many students do mistakes. They try to use fancy and flashy and extraordinary vocabulary just to show the examiner that they have a higher understanding of English. But the thing they do wrong is they use inappropriate words for the situation. That means the word is meaning the same, but it's not according to the context of the word. The last thing that they see is grammatical range and accuracy. That means that tense mistakes, your spelling mistakes, any other omissions you make. These are the 4 things that the IELTS examiner will see in your written test, and he will mark it according to this. Like he will give you marks 9 in task achievement, or like 6 out of 9 in coherence and cohesion, 7 out of 9 in lexical resource, and we'll say 7 out of 9 in grammatical range and accuracy. So you will combine that 9 and 7 and 7 and 7, and that will be 30, and 30 divided by 4 is like 7 point something. Then your overall band score will be 7.5 or something. That is how each IELTS writing task 1 and 2 is calculated, and then for the task 1 it has 33% weightage. For task 2 it is 66% weightage. So that means 3 bands for IELTS writing task 1, 6 bands for writing task 2, total of 9 bands. Then we go towards the speaking. Speaking is more challenging, as I already told, and the marking of the speaking is also more strict. Why? Because it is being tested on 5 different markers. See, the same lexical resource, grammatical range, and accuracy, these are the same in the writing, but the pronunciation and fluency and coherence, these are new things that you have to keep in mind, that you have to keep in check when you are giving the IELTS speaking exam. That is what I was talking about: fluency, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, pronunciation, and at the left side you will see there is a 9 written, 8 written, 7, and then 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. These are your band scores, and they explains how were you in your speaking. Like if someone is speaking like he is able to, keep going and demonstrate a willingness to produce long terms, your coherence is fine, but there is self repetition and correction, and your vocabulary is inappropriate, but your meaning is clear. You can paraphrase the thing successfully. You can produce a mix of short and complex sentences. You are giving some errors. Then you are standing at like six bands. But you will say a person for seven bands, they are able to keep going and readily produce long terms without noticeable effort. There may be hesitation, but they can overcome it. ठीक है? Their use of spoken discourse is flexible. I'll share these descriptors of writing and speaking in the class as well. I've made a Google group, Google Classroom, in which I will add all of you after a few minutes. Okay. So coming back to the introduction, if we go and see the IELTS listening modules, it contains of four sections. First section is about discussion. You will listen to an audio that will be a discussion of two persons. They will be discussing anything. It can be a travel plan, it can be a hotel reservation, it can be call to the police to inform something missing. It can be anything. It will be mostly a telephonic conversation between two persons. Section 2, it goes a one person. Okay. It's mostly when someone is giving an announcement, they are giving you guidelines. In section 2, someone will guide you about something, you will have to listen to them, and then you will have to go through those questions and give their answers. And in the section 3, two people will be discussing about a thing, and they will agree to something, they will disagree to something, and there will be questions, and you'll have to see on what things they are disagreeing, on what things they are agreeing, and on that point you will have to answer them. And the section 4 is going to be a lecture. Let me tell you, the section 1 is easier, section 2 is comparatively harder, and it goes toward section 4, which is much harder. So it goes from easy to hard as it progresses from section 1 to section 4. There are multiple types of questions that you can see in your IELTS listening test. You can have multiple choice, matchings, plan, map, diagrams. There can be sentence completion. I think let me show you one to have a better understanding. Okay. Listening sample. Okay. See this.
No, that's not necessary. When you come into the library, do make sure you pick up a copy of the guide to the library. Of course, anything you need to know, such as how the catalogue system works, you can ask any member of staff. But the guide does contain basic information about our services. It doesn't include things like the special events, because they always change. But inside you'll find a plan of the library showing where, for example, the reading is. It also tells you about our cafe in the basement. That's not open at the moment because of building work we're having done to install disabled lifts.
Actually,
And if you can't find what you want on the shelf, there's a section about how to reserve the books that tells you what you need to do.
see, they have discussed almost all the things, but they have said that no, there may be a thing, there was a thing. See, so you'll have to distinguish between the present, past, and future, and distinguish between if a thing is available or not. Then towards the IELTS reading, it has diagram labels, true, false, not given, matching features. Now this true, false, not given is the one of the most challenging parts students have to face. So all of my students, they are struggling in this true, false, and not given. We have devised many strategies to overcome the problems in it that I'll discuss later in the session. I think we are almost halfway through it. Let me have your questions. Especially Haris, now you can unmute yourself and I'm stopping my screen.
Sir, my question is,
Ji.
like the recording of listening is played once, or like any time when we want.
No. The recording is going on. You cannot stop it. There are no options to stop it. Okay. It will go.
Okay, okay.
हाँ, ऐसे होता है ना कि अगर आप एक क्वेश्चन को मिस कर दोगे एंड देन यू आर स्टार्टिंग थिंकिंग अबाउट इट, so what happens, the next two or three question will also missed, and
Hmm.
your band in the listening will go down.
या या सो दैट मीन्स कि हमें साथ साथ जो है ना वो करना होगा इसको।
Yes, it
रफली आप आंसर्स लिखें, कंपेयर कर सकते हैं आप उसको अगर कोई
just
चीज
give
रेस करनी है।
you paper and pen, you can make notes, but as far as I've given it, you will not have time to make notes, because your concentration is also divided on writing the notes. In the
Hmm.
meanwhile, the recording is going on. The speaker may have moved on to the next question, but you are still writing down the previous one.
Hmm.
So that means you will not only miss the previous one, you will also miss one or two coming in the way.
Yeah, and the recording is on the speakers or the microphone or the headphones gadgets.
I think it depends upon the organization. As far as I've done, they give you very good quality headphone speakers that you
Hmm.
can have, and they are very good. Their noise is crisp, and the voice is very clear. You
Hmm.
can
Yeah,
follow the speech easily. There is no
yeah,
problem
yeah.
with it.
Thank you, sir. And my last question is, which you suggest, like on paper or on computer? Like which
Actually, I think
pattern you have followed?
if you talk about me personally, I give preference to the computer delivered IELTS, because most of my day for the past 3 or more years uh, is spent in front of a computer. More than 8 hours a day, I'm on the laptop. So it is easier for me to watch the screen, to read on the screen, to make notes on the screen. But if someone who has a very limited exposure to computers, I think that person needs to go towards the paper based. But again, you can figure this out while you are doing the preparation, while you are giving your mock test. I will suggest you to give mock test on both the computer based computer and on paper as well, and then see it for yourself how well you are performing. Mostly the students face problem in the writing section. You will have to type it in right in the computer, but if you are going on a paper based, you will have to write it by hand. There is also another advantage of paper-based IELTS is because you will get 10 extra minutes to copy your answers from your copy sheet to the marking sheet. But I think
Oh,
there is no use of those 10 minutes
yeah.
because the recording is gone. Nothing is in your head. You cannot make a good assumption that what was the speaker talking about, even if you have skipped a few questions and you have the 10 minutes, but there is little you can do about it.
So, sir, should we use our own computer or we can go to the test place and then they give us their computer?
I mean, the test place, they are equipped with high-tech labs. They have their own systems, everything their own. You just have to go yourself, take your identity document with you, and everything is available on the uh,
Okay,
website. Yeah.
okay, sir. That's it for me now. Thank
Okay.
you, sir.
Two tasks that I already discussed. One is where you have to write about data. It can be in a form of table, it can be a chart, it can be a process flow diagram, it can be a graph, it can be a map, it can be a plan of update. Anything visual, it will have data in it, and you will have to report the main features of it and give comparison wherever applicable. It will have 150 words for the task one and 250 words minimum for the task 2. You can always overwrite, but I will not recommend to do overwriting because see, when you are writing 150 words, you are, let's suppose, making two mistakes each 100 words. So that will be three mistakes in 150 words. And if you will go up to 200 words, that will be four mistakes. So your penalty will be increased and your overall band will decrease. If you have very good writing skills, I would suggest to go above the limit and clear your point of view, because I have secured 7 bands and I've gone way above the minimum limit. Maybe I think 250 words for the task 1 and 350 words for the task 2, but I never recommended it to my students because if you are not good in the writing, you should not over attempt it. For the task 2, there are multiple types of questions, opinion essays in which you'll have to agree or disagree, discussion in which you'll have to discuss one or two things and give your opinion about it. Multi-part essay means that there are 2 or 3 sections about a topic and you'll have to write about it. Multi-part opinion in which you have to not only write but also give your opinion about it. Then the advantage and disadvantage, like usage of mobile phone is increasing in the children of school going age nowadays. Do you think it is good, or what are the pros and cons of giving mobile phone or increasing the screen time of the school going students? It can be a positive negative essay as well, like the government has banned uh, children below 16 years of age to use social media. Do you think is it a good or bad development? In this situation, you will have to discuss the steps the government has taken and then give your opinion that whether is it a good or bad. You cannot say that it is good also, but it is also bad. You will stick to one thing and you will prove yourself with logical points. Most students do this mistake. They try to discuss everything in the task 1 and task 2 as well. That is totally against the instructions they have given. Again, the cause and solution essay. These details we will discuss in their own sessions, like when we'll go in the IELTS writing task 2 session, we'll discuss each of the question type. We'll discuss the strategy on how to think about the prompt, how to set your essay, and finally how to write it. We will go through it in our upcoming sessions. Listening, reading, writing, speaking, everything we'll discuss it. The speaking part is the more shortest one, but the challenging one because it just lasts from 11 to 14 minutes. The first few minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, will be the examiner asking you very basic questions like what's your name, where do you live, what do you do, what is your favorite food, how do you travel to your work, or they asked me that how important are numbers to you. So there may be many things that they can discuss. This is the section 1. The part 2 that many students know as the cue card, because in which you will have 1 minute to think about or make notes about a topic that the examiner will give you. Then you will have 2 minutes to speak about it. Now, many students face a problem because they have never spoken in English more than 2 or 3 lines, let alone straighter for 2 minutes. So they stop in between, and the examiner will say that continue, but then they will have nothing to say about it. Most students are worried about how the task 2 Q card will go on. We have many strategies that we have taught to the students that I myself have used in my exam. So I'll teach it all to you. In the part 3, is the two-way discussion. Speaking test is also like it starts easier, and when it's going on, it gets tougher and tougher as you go. So the task point three or part three questions will be much more complex. You will have to think more about them, and they are mostly logical questions in which you will have to give supporting facts regarding your statements. We have planned two long sessions like this in a week that will be on different topics. We will try to cover as much as possible because there, as you have seen, there are a lot of things in the IELTS because four modules, each of them have their own parts, their own sections, and each section has their own question types. So in 1 month, we have decided to go through them all. Mock tests on Saturdays. I'll give you homeworks. I will assign you writing tasks, both task 1 and task 2 for the Saturdays. TKG will also share resources and helpful materials that will help you during your IELTS preparation. We at WSL are trying to give you all materials in your own go. Here it is. If you will go to wslconsultants.com, it is our website, you will find a section of IELTS exam library. It is still under construction. We are working on it. It will have listening, reading, writing, and speaking tests available. So if any one of you wants to do mock test on their own, they can visit our website. It's still under development, so some functions may not be available right now, but after a few days, it will be fully functional and you can easily find your tests from here. You can attempt your listening mocks, reading, writing mocks, speaking mocks here. You can even submit your writing mocks here, and I will check it and give you feedback on this website as well. But still, it is still not operational. It needs some time. I'll tell you whenever it is complete. So, did you give any certificate after this session? Uh, the thing is, you can have a certificate. We will provide you with certificates, but the main purpose of this session is not to give a certificate, but to give the training, to give the IELTS test. So I think now we'll go towards our QA session. If anyone have any questions, अच्छा जी, Haris Wahid is the only interested person here. अच्छा जी, Haris, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, sir. I was planning to do IELTS, and very thankfully I have seen your this course. So, will you suggest me to enroll now or after this course for the test? What's your opinion?
You should just wait. It depends upon the deadline of the course you are applying for. When do you need your IELTS scores?
I need IELTS in, I think, April or March, because it's not needed for the admission process. But I think it's not necessary, but it will give me a plus point when
Yes,
I file my visa.
it portrays you as an genuine student, and the visa officer or the university,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
they know that the person is interested in studying and giving an
yeah,
IELTS score and having
yeah,
good grades in it. It
yeah,
will
yeah,
much more competitive advantage. That is
yeah.
the thinking. I would suggest you to do not book test right now. Just go through with us this month. It will
Okay,
go till like 16 Jan, or maybe we can extend for a week or two. Depends upon how well you guys are performing and your needs. So,
okay,
uh,
okay,
anyone
sir.
have any question? Okay, Aras, thank you. अच्छा किसका मैसेज है सर आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन मोहम्मद अब्दुल्ला अब्दुल्ला लेट मी अनम्यूट यू चलेंगे आ जाएंगे You can unmute yourself, Abdullah.
यस सर, मैंने ये बात करनी थी कि मैं तो ऑलरेडी क्लासेस ली हुई हैं और मुझे मेथड पता है कि किस तरह क्लासेस अरेंजमेंट है या उसके कितने कितने पार्ट्स हैं। तो आप मुझे क्या रिकमेंड करेंगे कि मैं किस तरह प्रिपरेशन करूँ इसकी?
अच्छा, यही मैं आपको बताने वाला था। आज का जो हमारा सेशन था ना, इट्स जनरल बिकॉज फर्स्ट डे है एंड नॉट ऑल ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स हैव एक्सपोजर टू आइल्स, और सबको नहीं आ रहा होता, सब ने अटेम्प्ट भी नहीं किया होता। तो इट इज जस्ट फॉर द इंफॉर्मेशन। हमारा जो नेक्स्ट सेशन होगा ना, दैट विल बी स्ट्रिक्टली बिजनेस लाइक। हम आप लैंड द लिसनिंग बैंड। अब लिसनिंग मॉड्यूल में हम क्या करेंगे, डिफरेंट लिसनिंग टेक्निक्स सीखेंगे, डिफरेंट एक्सेंट्स को हमने कैसे रिकग्नाइज करना है, डिफरेंशिएट करना है, वो हम देखेंगे एग्जांपल्स। तो देयर आर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स कमिंग। आज का जो सेशन था, इट वाज जस्ट द बिगिनिंग, एंड द बिगिनिंग इज ऑलवेज स्लो पेस्ड। सो जैसे जैसे हम भी आगे बढ़ते जाएंगे, वी विल बी क्विक पेस्ड। ठीक है, क्लास टाइमिंग चेंज करनी। अच्छा अब्दुल्ला, और आपके क्वेश्चन? आई होप आप
बस यही था कि मुझे कुछ मशवरा दे दे ताकि मैं प्रैक्टिस भी कर सकूं, क्योंकि मुझे तो पता है ना इसके वाले से।
अच्छा अच्छा, मशवरा ये है कि देखें, आपने पहले अपीयर हुए हैं इसमें?
आइल्स में जी मैं होया हूँ, 5.5 है, आपको बताया था।
अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा, आप ठीक है, समझ गया। आप ऐसे करो ना, आप आइडेंटिफाई करो। हाँ, आपका रीडिंग में 4.5 था और आपका 5 था स्पीकिंग में।
जी
आप ऐसे करो कि आप अपनी रीडिंग की प्रेपरेशन, रीडिंग को टैकल करो। रीडिंग को टैकल करने के लिए आपको ऑब्वियसली रीडिंग करना पड़ेगी। चेंज योर हैबिट्स ऑफ यूजिंग सोशल मीडिया, because most of the time our time is consumed on Facebook or Instagram scrolling, and if you have pages जहाँ पे इंग्लिश कंटेंट आ रहा होता है, और अगर आप उनको फॉलो करते हो, उनके आप पोस्ट पढ़ते हो, उनके कमेंट्स पढ़ते हो, दैट इज, ये आपकी लर्निंग भी हो रही होती है, एंड यू डोंट गेट फेड अप के यार ये मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ। एंड इफ अगर आप मैं आपको अपना पर्सनली बताऊं, आई हैव followed a lot of cricket related analytics, a lot of international affairs related channels. They are in language, ठीक है। तो वो क्या करते हैं,
ओके।
उसके ऊपर डिस्कोर्स, कमेंट्स, वो सारी चीजें ना, वो बड़ी बड़ी पोस्ट बना रहे होते हैं। तो इंस्टेड ऑफ स्क्रॉलिंग थ्रू द रील्स, आप क्या करते हो, आप अपनी फेवरेट थिंग के बारे में रीड कर रहे होते हो, एंड वो क्या
जी
करती है, वो आपकी रीडिंग की एबिलिटी को बेटर कर देती है। अब ये कह रही है रिमशा जी कि जी इंग्लिश पढ़ के बंदा बोर हो जाता है। अच्छा, आई डोंट नो हाउ यू गेट बोर्ड फ्रॉम इंग्लिश, बिकॉज आई थिंक इंग्लिश is a lifestyle that you have to adopt on, और जब आप इसको एक बार अडेप्ट कर लेते हो, it is much interesting. If you will talk about me, उर्दू कंटेंट बोरिंग लगता है, इंग्लिश कंटेंट अच्छा लगता है। वाई? बिकॉज उसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग आ रही होती है आपको। इंग्लिश मूवीज, सर हाँ जी, इंग्लिश मूवीज आप देखें, उर्दू डबिंग में नहीं, हिंदी डबिंग में नहीं। यू ऑब्वियसली, अगर आप एक नेटिव लैंग्वेज को उसकी नेटिव में ही देख रहे हो ना, फिर ही आपको उसकी मिलेगी। वन थिंग, यस, दैट इज अ वेरी गुड टिप। आप ऐसा करो, ट्राई टू गो थ्रू इंग्लिश कह लें सीरीज और मूवीज, और फर्स्ट आप उसको ना थ्रू द सब टाइटल्स देखो। आई नो कि जी पहले पहले आपको समझ नहीं आ रही होगी। वो क्या होता है, सब टाइटल्स का ऑप्शन आ रहा था उसमें। आप क्या करोगे कि दो चार मूवीज, दो चार सीजन आपने देख लिए विद द सब टाइटल्स ऑन। तब उससे क्या बेनिफिट हुआ, उससे आपके दो तीन बेनिफिट हुए। एक तो आपकी लिसनिंग स्ट्रांग हो गई, क्योंकि आप सुन रहे हो और आगे पढ़ रहे हो। आपकी रीडिंग भी स्ट्रांग हो गई, क्योंकि आप उसको रीड भी कर रहे हो। तो उसको देखने से जो है ना, बेनिफिट हो जाएगा। अच्छा जी, इज देयर एनी वेबसाइट्स टू गिव मॉक टेस्ट टू जज आवर बैंड्स को? जी बिल्कुल, हम बना रहे हैं अपनी वेबसाइट, हमारी WSL की वेबसाइट पे इंशाल्लाह बहुत जल्द मॉक टेस्ट का सेक्शन आ जाएगा। तब तक मैं आपके साथ ना, आज बल्कि अभी ही एक ग्रुप बना देता हूँ गूगल का, गूगल क्लासरूम के नाम से। वहां पे क्या है, मैं ना आपसे कैम्ब्रिज की एक बुक शेयर करूंगा, बल्कि काफी सारी पढ़ी है मेरे पास ना, एक करके आपके साथ में ना वो शेयर करता जाऊंगा। उसका फायदा क्या होगा, उसके अंदर है मॉक टेस्ट। मार्केट में अगर आप पेपर बेस देना चाह रहे हो ना, यू कैन गो टू द मार्केट एंड परचेज द बुक, आई डोंट नो 200, 250, 300, 400 यहाँ तक आपको मिल जाएगी। बट यहाँ पे मैं आपको उसकी स्कैन्ड कॉपी फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट जो है ना वो दे दूंगा। अभी ये क्लास खत्म होते ही आपको जो है ना ईमेल आ जाएगी, एक क्लास के अंदर आपको ना मैं एंटर कर दूंगा। वहां पे क्या होगा, वहां पे आपको मिलेगी एक बुक आइल्स की, उसके अंदर आपको मॉक टेस्ट अवेलेबल होंगे, लिसनिंग, रीडिंग, राइटिंग, स्पीकिंग। एक बुक में 4 मॉक टेस्ट होते हैं, और वो 4 मॉक टेस्ट आपके लिए बहुत हेल्पफुल होंगे अगर आपको उसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग ही करनी है एकदम दैट। तो वेट फॉर इट अ फ्यू डेज। हम अपना भी प्लेटफॉर्म लॉन्च कर रहे हैं, वो आपके लिए ज्यादा इजी हो जाएगा, बिकॉज पीडीएफ बुक्स को खोलना, मैनेज करना, ऑर्गेनाइज करना थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट होता है। बट अगर आपके पास एक प्लेटफॉर्म है ना, वेबसाइट है, वो आपके लिए इजी है। वी आर वर्किंग ऑन इट। तो अच्छा जी, इंग्लिश बुक्स क्या हमें चेंजेस बिल्कुल ला सकते हैं, बिल्कुल ला सकते हैं। यू शुड डेफिनेटली रीड इंग्लिश बुक्स। The thing about IELTS is whenever you are preparing for it, whenever you are going to appear for it, you will have to read, write, eat, sleep, walk English. Everything in your life must be in English. अगर आप किसी से कोई भी फॉर्मल इनफॉर्मल कन्वर्सेशन कर रहे हो, ट्राई टू यूज मोर एंड मोर इंग्लिश वर्ड्स इन इट। ठीक है जी। इंग्लिश एक्सेंट से फर्क पड़ता है बैंड स्कोर पे। Are you talking about English accent? Because if we talk about accent or pronunciation may have an effect, but accent does not have any effect on your IELTS bands. ठीक है? They know that we are the non-native speakers. We cannot produce the accent. So accent में आपको penalty नहीं होती. Never. How to practice computer-based test? व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप बना दें सर या कम्युनिटी नोटिफिकेशन से? यस ऑफ कोर्स, टोल्ड यू, वो तो मैं बना दूंगा। कम्युनिटी बन जाएगी इंशाल्लाह। कम्युनिटी पे वी कैन वर्क ऑन, ठीक है, वो बना सकते हैं। कंप्यूटर बेस्ड टेस्ट की प्रैक्टिस के लिए हम अपने वेबसाइट wslconsultants.com पे एक पोर्टल बना रहे हैं स्पेशली आप लोग के लिए, जहाँ पे आप फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट एनरोल होके मॉक टेस्ट जो है ना वो अपीयर हो सकते हो उसके अंदर। ठीक है, वो वर्किंग में हो जाएगी इंशाल्लाह। तकरीबन कुछ दिन और लगेंगे, उसके ऊपर डेवलपमेंट चल रही है। पेपर बेस्ड टेस्ट आर क्लोज? नो, पेपर बेस्ड टेस्ट क्लोज नहीं हुए। अच्छा, 2 तरह के आइल्स हैं, एक तो आइल्स यूकेवीआई है और एक है आइल्स एकेडमिक। एक है आइल्स और एक है आइल्स यूकेवीआई। बोथ होते हैं हमारे काइंड ऑफ द सेम। जो यूकेवीआई बैंड वाला होता है ना आइल्स, वो मोस्टली यूके में अंडर ग्रेजुएट के लिए होता है। टेस्ट का पैटर्न सेम है, टेस्ट की स्कोरिंग सेम है, हर चीज सेम है, सिर्फ उसकी ना सिक्योरिटी थोड़ी सी डिफरेंट है यूकेवीआई वाले की। ठीक है, और वो अंडर ग्रेजुएट स्टूडेंट्स जो यूके में जा रहे हैं वो लोग प्रेफर करते हैं। उसकी कॉस्ट भी आई थिंक कम है, आइल्ट्स एकेडमिक जो नॉर्मल वाला है ना, ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड चलता है, उससे कम है। अब उसमें उन्होंने पेपर बेस्ड वाला बंद किया है। आइल्ट्स यूकेवीआई पेपर बेस्ड क्लोज हो गया है, लेकिन आइल्ट्स यूकेवीआई कंप्यूटर बेस अभी भी है। आइल्ट्स एकेडमिक पेपर बेस वो भी अभी है, आइल्ट्स एकेडमिक कंप्यूटर बेस वो भी अभी है। ठीक है, तो बंद नहीं हुए। आप आइल्ट्स एकेडमिक वाला करो, आपको मिलेगा अभी भी पेपर बेस। Provide us some dog by which we can learn difficult words which have very big role. हाँ जी बिल्कुल, कमिंग सेशंस में आपको टिप्स भी शेयर किया करेंगे। ऑफ कोर्स, अगर हम लिसनिंग की बात कर रहे हैं ना कि लाइक वी आर वर्किंग ऑन द आइल्ट्स लिसनिंग मॉड्यूल, तो लिसनिंग के रिलेटेड जो भी टिप्स होंगी और उसके रिलेटेड जो भी हेल्पिंग मटेरियल होगा वो आपके साथ शेयर किया जाएगा, डेफिनेटली शेयर करेंगे। सेम गोज विद आगे राइटिंग एंड लिसनिंग, हर किस्म की वोकैबुलरी आपके साथ आ जाएगी। अच्छा जी, नाइमा इज आस्किंग व्हाट टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चन आर यूजुअली इंक्लूडेड इन आईएलटीएस टेस्ट। अच्छा, आईएलटीएस टेस्ट में ना 4 डिफरेंट मॉड्यूल्स हैं, लाइक रीडिंग, राइटिंग, लिसनिंग एंड स्पीकिंग। उनमें फिर आगे डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस मिलते हैं। जैसा कि मैंने आपको बताया, अगर हम राइटिंग की बात करें, राइटिंग में आपको डिफरेंट ऐसे की टाइप्स मिल जाती हैं। उसमें आपने किसी में ओपिनियन देना है, किसी में अपने एडवांटेज डिसएडवांटेज बताने हैं, किसी में आपने दोनों में कंपैरिजन करना है। अगर लिसनिंग की बात करें तो कोई आपको एमसीक्यूज मिलेंगे, कोई आपको मिलेंगे फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स, कोई आपको मिलेंगे आपने टेबल को पूरा करना है, कोई आपको मिलेंगे समरी को कंप्लीट कर दें। अगर आप रीडिंग की बात करो तो उसमें आपको ट्रू फाल्स नॉट गिवन मिलेगा, ठीक है। और उसमें भी मल्टीपल चॉइस मिलते हैं, सेंटेंस कंप्लीशन मिलते हैं। ये सारा कुछ जो है ना, डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ द क्वेश्चन जो है ना, वो आपको मिलते हैं। It can be anything. It's not your competitive exam, PPSC, PMS. It's not like that. कोई जनरल नॉलेज का ही नहीं है। आपको अनसीन चीजें आती हैं। यू जस्ट नीड, आपको कंटेंट नहीं मेमोराइज करना है। इसमें आपको लिखने हैं, इसमें आपको अंडरस्टैंडिंग होनी चाहिए कि लिखना कैसे है। बेसिकली क्या लिखना है, दैट इज अनदर थिंग। लिखना उसको कैसे है, दिस इज द टेस्ट। और चूंकि इंट्रोडक्शन की क्लास थी तो इसके अंदर हम टेक्निकलिटीज में जरा कम ही गए हैं। नेक्स्ट क्लास हमारी वेडनेसडे को है 5 बजे। ईमेल आपको आ जाएगी और उसका एजेंडा है आइल्स लिसनिंग, जिसके अंदर हम लिसनिंग की डिफरेंट टेक्निक्स को देखेंगे, लिसनिंग के डिफरेंट क्वेश्चंस को देखेंगे। और हम ये देखेंगे कि जो नेटिव स्पीकर्स होते हैं ना, हाउ दे आर स्पीकिंग डिफरेंट, ठीक है ना, और उसको कैच कैसे करना है हमने। दीज आर फ्यू थिंग्स, ठीक है, यही हम करेंगे। आई थिंक विल रैप अप आवर सेशन फॉर टुडे। विल मीट ऑन वेडनेसडे, आई गेस, ठीक है एवरीवन।